Definitely time to get this plant moved. It's getting bigger by day. And this is a courgette, but it's one of those that grow round courgettes. We've never tried these before, but it can't stay in here. And we have got roots coming out of bottom, only slightly, but obviously that's only going to get worse. So we decided to try it in a container. And this is not a huge container, but it's a lot bigger than what this plant's in at the moment. And we like to try at least one of everything in containers as we go through the season. And if it does start to get a little bit too much for this container, it'll be quite easy to take it out and move it into a bigger container. But we'll see how we go, because I'm quite happy to grow smaller plants and get smaller fruits, while at the same time saving on space and compost. And I don't want to put this outside, because just like cucumbers, they're not very cold, are they? And this weather at the moment is so up and down. Last night it seemed to be really cold. Today it's supposed to be sunny, but so far nothing's happening. So for that reason, I'm still trying to put as many things in containers as I can. At least I can move them somewhere and protect them if I need to. So exact same way as I plant anything, I part fill it first, and then add some fertilizer, and again we're using bone meal. Just a bit of a sprinkle, there's plenty to start this off. And then just fill it up. Not going right to the top, because first off we need a bit of a gap for watering, and we've also got to get this planting. And it just so happens I've got a tub same size as that one's in, so we can use that to make us all. So let's get this plant out and have a look. Quite surprised actually. There was only a couple of little roots sticking out bottom, but it has got quite a few more than I thought. So it's a good job we're moving it on now. So I'm just going to rough that bottom up so everything's nice and free. And then we'll get this big plant in. And then we're going to have to try and backfill it and straighten it up at the same time, because these plants have got an habit of just falling to one side. But we'll fix that in a moment. The more I can press it down, the better I can straighten it. These plants like to grow up things rather than bush outwards. So as this plant grows, it'll just keep going onto its side as it grows, because they get top heavy. So you need some kind of a support. So we'll just put a little bit of a frame in here just to keep this plant upright where we want it. And a couple of canes is as good as anything, just to make a bit of a support. So we'll do that wigwam thing. Same as what we did on those French beans outside. Just so we can put these canes in a position where we could very loosely tie these stems on to stop this plant moving around. We want to encourage it to grow upwards. And I'm pushing these in, but I'm trying to avoid that root ball as well. We don't want to damage roots while we're doing this. When I've got them where I want them, we can pull them back in. So I'll just put one this side as well, and then we've got 4. Then all I need to do is just pull all 4 together, pop a tie wrap round them. And that is about as stable as it can be. If you're looking for containers to do container gardening, we got all different sizes like these. And that one. And these as well. We get them all from Poundland and they're £1 each. So if you want some really cheap containers to grow your plants in like this, pop down there, get a few of these. Just make sure you drill some extra holes in the bottom, because the holes that they have to start with that you puncture through with a screwdriver are only really small. But if you can grow yourself something like this in a small container with a bit of compost, it's well worth doing. They also sell these as well. They actually come on a reel and it's got its own little cutter, except I pulled it off by accident. So what we do is we just cut them into length in advance. But they're really good when you've got things like this that you want to stabilise. So you can just wrap it round and then loosely twist it, just to take some of that play out of this. But don't do it tight. Just make sure it's a loop and you're not tightening up against that stem or you'll cut through it. All we're trying to do is stop that. So I can just go around and lift each of these leaves up. And we're keeping them off that compost at the same time, which is always good. We don't want things rotting. And then we'll pin this one as well. All 3 of those main leaves are now secured. So that'll do. The leaves are off that compost, the plant can't wobble around anymore, and as it grows up from this middle stem, we'll just keep tying it to this and we'll see how far it gets. But if it gets to be a bit too tall, we can always put canes in between the canes we've already put in, but just make them taller, and we'll see how it gets on. It's first time growing these plants and I've never grown a courgette in a container. So it'll be interesting to see how this one turns out. But that's another plant setup, and I'm sure there's plenty of things to do this morning before that sun comes out and gives us all sunburn. So I'll get this one watered in now. This will be staying in greenhouse as well. They're not cold hardy plants, but we can leave it in greenhouse. And obviously it's also going to grow a lot quicker doing that. But when it does get to summer, eventually, and it's really hot, because it's in a container, we can move it outside. Whereas if we put them in ground, then obviously we can't do anything about that. And last year this greenhouse went up to 123 degrees because we had a bit of freaky weather last summer, and we were looking at temperatures are about 104. So in here it was more like 124. So the plants were suffering because of that. So now we've got one in a container, we can just move it into shade whenever we need to. That's that done. And we'll pop his label in. I'll go and have a look round now and I'll see what else there is to do, knowing this one's all sorted out. And we'll just keep a check on this over the next few weeks, and obviously I'll keep updating you on its progress. And if you want to see progress of this plant and all others that we're doing in containers, please hit that subscribe button and press that notifications bell, and we look forward to seeing you then. Take care and enjoy your weekend.